That's a good one, Marty. Alphabet soup. We'll see how the alphabet soup here works here. So let's get into it here with 2S Region 1 here as we look at it here in terms of everything 2S Region 1. So we're going into Class 2S. We've got an interesting mix here, Marty.
Yeah, up top you got Walton, South Walton, Grandpa Walton, John Boy Walton, all the Waltons, Walton family, Walton Mountain. But yeah, that'd be interesting. Walton and South Walton playing in the opening round. And Walton, what a year they're having, number one seed. They beat Union County a couple weeks ago over an overtime game.
By the way, Walton just had another overtime game this past week.
Ah,
it was South Walton, by the way.
And they won it.
Yes.
So Walton, that's why they're the one seed right now. But you do see Pensacola Catholic and Mariana lurking in that 4-5 game. And both of those teams are tough as well. Swanee, the two, undefeated.
Oh, yeah.
Swanee Bulldogs, and they would say West Florida's a 7. Then you got Wakulla. We know about Wakulla. They've been there before as well. How about that game? Florida High would be at Wakulla opening round. And Florida High, the state runner-up from a year ago, they're in 2S. I have a feeling they're going to be moving up as the season goes on. Already coming off a win at Madison County last week, so they're starting to play really good football. And yeah, that's going to be a tough region to get out of there, Region 1.
No, you're absolutely right here. I mean, honestly, it's one of those things. It's just it's going to be a tough region to try to really kind of work yourself out of here. But Florida High. I expect Florida High to be shifting up here in terms of the power rankings. Florida High still hasn't hit some of the meat of their schedule, so that's part of the problem right there. And we got to remind you that's some of the problem here for in terms of the first rankings. We're dealing. We're at the midway point of the season. 5 weeks of ranking for 5 weeks of data here. So some of these teams still haven't hit the meat of that schedule yet. And of course, district play is starting if they hadn't started there in week 4, a lot of teams are starting their district play this week here as we enter week 6.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to move along to 2S Region 2 as Roger Cruz asked where Bradford is. Well, there they are. And how about that matchup? North Marion. Marion is 1-3. They've been struggling. Got blown out by Swanee last week. They're playing Eastside this week. And there's Eastside at 4 against Baldwin the 5. So you're kind of assuming Eastside will win that district, which if they beat North Marion this week, most likely will. But that's an interesting Baldwin who's played pretty well. The only loss coming to Bradford. Then you got Yulee as a 2 seed. And Baker County is a 7. That is an interesting flip there.
Actually, I think Baldwin lost to Baker County already too. So
you're right. They have 2 losses. They lost to Bradford and Palatka. How about Palatka? We'll see if this continues, and it might. They're undefeated 4-0, and there they are as a 3 seed. They would host Fernandina Beach, so an interesting region 2. But I think if you look at this, and I know it's early, Bradford would be the heavy favorite in this region.
No, you're absolutely right. I think Bradford would be the heavy favorite in this region. And actually, very interesting. I know this is interesting. I know someone's going to ask me about this, and I just noticed this. But where's the team from District 8 at? Because they really should be on that bracket here, and that's as the 8th seed. So really, North Marion might not even actually be in there. And this is my mistake actually looking at it. And I just want to bring that up here. Let me pull it up here real quick from the FHSAA website because I do have, the thing, because I do want to say that this is probably where it's going to go. So I apologize if I offended anybody in this situation here. They're wondering about this, but really the team from District 8 there should really be that 8th seed sitting there. So let me pull it up here in terms of that situation here, Marty. And I mean, it's that district's weird because it's Crescent City, Port Orange Atlantic, and Pearson Taylor, and that's a district that they struggle a lot. All those teams have been struggling.
Who was the first team you said?
Crescent City.
Oh, I think Crescent City will probably end up taking that, but yeah, that's true.
No, and that's what I'm going to look at here is try to find that real quick here. So in terms of the 2S here, let's get it to here. Let me see if I can get this sorted here. It's trying to have to click several buttons here to get in terms of the way it's organized here in terms of how they handle it here. So 2S Region 2. So let's see where they're sitting at here. So North Marion with an A. Right now, actually, Port Orange Atlantic would be the one that would be sitting there in that slot there at 8. So Port Orange Atlantic, but potentially, yeah. But North Marion, I mean, this depends. I mean, that's the problem is that, again, district champs automatically qualify, but again, it's true seeding. So, North Marion, hey, for North Marion, they're going to have to win. They're going to have to beat Eastside probably potentially to get out of there. And, and then of course Atlantic, if Port Orange Atlantic, they could get some things going here, maybe they might be able to boost their schedule up here to boost their strength up a little bit to be able to get across into that top 8 there without having any issue of, anyone saying, hey, well, this team bumped this team out because of the district championship situation.
Right.
So just a side note there.
Oh yeah, and last year Crescent City did make that play Bradford in the first round, and it was beaten pretty soundly. But we'll see. Bradford again, I think heavy favorite there. Look at this, Cocoa. Speaking of heavy favorites, Region 3, Cocoa the 1 seed, and that's not surprising at
No.
all, as their only loss this year. Well, was it a loss? St. Thomas Aquinas officially goes down as one, but hey, they lost by 1 point down there
Yeah.
in Fort Lauderdale, and then Eustis the 8. We get in as the 8. That could change as well. South Sumter, the 4 seed, their only losses come to Hawthorne and Denell in the 5. That's interesting. Titusville, Mount Dora, the 2-7. The Titusville Terriers having a big year.
5-0.
Yeah, and they just knocked off Fleming Island last week.
Yeah.
And then you got on the other side of the state, Hudson and Nature Coast Tech. That's a rivalry game, 3-6. Those two teams already played. So, yeah, interesting. This is a little bit of a mix here, this Region 3. But, I mean, Cocoa, again, I would say probably considered the heavy favorite in this region, although we'll see if South Sumter can give them a run for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And of course, Hudson's doing really well. Of course, Nature Coast, they've got a new head coach, Rob Casimir, there this year. So, but Nature Coast sitting there, Hudson's already beaten Nature Coast. So that would be a district rematch right there.
Right.
And of course, South Sutton or Dunellen would be an interesting because that would be a district rematch, but they haven't played each other yet this year. So we'll see what happens here in terms of what's in terms of all that. But then we got Region 4 here, which I Marty, I look at it and see here's Fort Meade sitting at 1, and then Sarasota Booker at the 8 seed. But I mean, I'll tell you this: the team I think is the team that's going to be to beat in that region this year, Bishop Verot. Again, who the team that was in the state semifinals, but I think Bishop Verot's got everything sitting there in the cooker to get to the state title game this year.
The cooker, I like that. First, I got to go around the mulberry bush, though, according to this, and then at the bottom, you got, I love these names: Lemon Bay and Frostproof. Two of my favorite names as well, especially Frostproof there. But that's a program that we haven't heard much from lately. They've been a powerhouse through the years, but Fort Meade was in the rural class for a while. Now they've moved up to 2S, and that's a team that's been in the state championship game many times. So. Yeah.
And I got to bring this up here because Emery Smith is right. This is what the problem is when they do these rankings, and
they don't put the actual district champs in there. Right?
Yeah, and that's the problem here. And Emery, thank you so much for bringing that up here. I'm going to go ahead and look for the District 14 team. You're right about that. I apologize again on that. Again, it's hard when you're trying to sort through these first rankings and stuff, and that's why I was trying to look through my district records, and I just managed to slip up on that one. So I'm human. Nothing's perfect. I'll tell you that. I try to make it perfect, but I can't. I realize I can't make it perfect. But
yeah, that's right. That's the thing. You're right. They don't put the numbers. They don't put all the district champs in there. They just put them in the order of the teams at the time, which those teams will, as you said, the team whoever wins the district will be in there as well. But
by the way, so that team, that number 8 team, right this second, to answer Emery Smith's question here. Is and I know Emery Smith. I know Emery well. He's been a long time follower. Emery, your Hardy Wildcats would be sitting there at the number 8 seed. They're just right below Booker. So there you go. This District 14. So I mean that's probably why he's asking, but he's not wrong there. So I mean. It is a thing, and of course,
it's got what is that? Hassani Harper.
Yeah, we'll bring that up here in a moment. Here, I'll bring us back up here on the camera here, so that way everybody can see us here as we to converse about this here on this one. But Marty, I'll tell you what, here in this one, it's Hassani Harper.
Fort Meade versus Bishop Rowe. Okay.
Hassani, you're not wrong. I don't think you're wrong on that one. I mean, Frostproof last